Hey you guys, what is up? Thank you so much for being patient. I know it has been forever since I've uploaded anything on PlayTCG. This is a match using a deck that I'm actually really fond of now, and it's actually in the Boundaries Cross format, which I know I haven't been bringing you before, but I'm actually messing around with, as you can see by the brown energy, a Landorus deck, and it's actually Landorus, Mewtwo, and Garbodor, just basically straightforward attackers, and trying to get that ability lock. And I'm playing against my really good friend Ty Smith, which is really exciting. Ty's a really good friend of the show, and actually just coming off a really big performance at regionals. He actually won the Houston Regional, so it's kind of exciting playing someone who I know is very good. I get to go first here, which is pretty fortunate. I have the DCE, the Mewtwo, and I'm going to get out a Trubbish. Because, I know he's playing electric. It's pretty much the only way anyone plays Rayquaza EX. And so I want to get out that lock as fast as I can. We see that I do get the Garbodor for turn 2. I would have liked to have seen another Trubbish. Once you get that Rescue Scarf on a Garbodor, if they're not going to hit the Scrapper, that's a really good position you can put yourself in. But we're going to see Ty drop down the bridge, and he's going to Level Ball for a Dynamo. And he's going to Ultra Ball another couple of cards. He does have to get rid of an N, but he gets the Lightning in the discard too, which is pretty big. And he's going to get both those Dynamos on his bench. He's got the Fire to attach, and then he's got the Juniper. So pretty good turn 1 for him. Pretty much dumping all of his cards and then Junipering. I remember, being kind of impressed by that. But he's going to pass, and I am kind of proceeding with caution here. I'm not really sure what the best way to go about this is. I actually attach the DCE, and I'm going to catch up the other Rayquaza, which is actually kind of an interesting play. I want to put the 100 on it. I guess that part of my thinking was that this is going to, make it easy to two-shot that next time. He's going to drop the Raikou down too. And, I guess I feel like I have a couple of turns before he can knock out a Garbodor or anything. Really going after those energies is going to be my best bet. That'll prevent him from being able to attack, really. Because once you take away the Dynamotors, this deck is a lot slower. He's, however, going to just set up his Level Balls. Probably has the Scrapper somewhere in his deck, and he's probably hoping on hitting that. So I'm just going to look through his discards. See, he's played a lot of Level Balls already, but that's a really good thing for him. That means that he's going to thin his deck. He's going to retreat into the other Rayquaza, and he's going to have to pass. So I'm okay with this. I think about where I want to put my energy. I don't really feel the need to put anything on the Mewtwo at this point. 4 energy on it is quite a bit. I do hit the Trubbish, which is really nice. That's something I really wanted. Getting that second one down there is really just kind of makes the lock feel a lot safer once you have the second Trubbish out with the Rescue Scarf. And, that's always a good thing. But I'm going to put 80 damage on this active Rayquaza EX. So it's looking pretty difficult for him to really get the attack in anywhere. He's going to promote the Raikou. And he's going to go for the Paralyze. And he's going to whiff. So puts 30 on the board, but really that's not enough. I draw into an Eviolite, and I'm a little unsure what to do with it. You can attach it to the Trubbish, and it is a tool, so it will work for Garbotoxin. But at the same time, it doesn't really do much for you. I really like the combination of tools I'm running, although I'm unsure of whether I should be running either Rocky Helmet or EXP Share. It's a really hard call. I feel like I end up using these 4 DCEs as energy so much that it's kind of weird. I feel like I almost don't ever keep basic fighting on a Pokemon in any situation where I could use EXP Share. But at the same time, EXP Share just seems like it kind of fit better. Conserving that energy just kind of seems like it would work. And I evolve into Garbodor, a second one, and get the Eviolite. So I'm going to put 120 on that Raikou. And I'm feeling pretty good here. I know that I'm going to be able to start hammerheading fairly soon to take my KOs. I really like being able to hammerhead that Raikou, then I can put 30 on something else while still taking the KO. Probably that Rayquaza EX with 12 on it, because then I can pretty much just kind of work my way, KO these EXs. I've really put myself in a good position here. Unless he hits the Tool Scrapper, he's really not going to have much. And he's actually just going to scoop here. So this is actually a double header. I didn't really mention that at the beginning, but So that's the first game, and I felt good about it. I actually felt really good about a lot of this deck's matchups. It also does pretty well against Blastoise once you get the lockup, simply because they're not able to step in, so you can catcher up the Blastoise and kind of make them helpless. You can Hammerhead around the Blastoise, or really you still have to hit the Blastoise, but you can spread damage that way. The only thing you have to be careful about is really Landorus' weakness, but that's really why Mewtwo is the other attacker, aside from the fact that Mewtwo is just good, is that Mewtwo does really well against Blastoise. You know, any deck that's trying to put as much energy on the board as possible, Blastoise is going to do well against, or Mewtwo is going to do well against. So that's one of the reasons I really picked Mewtwo as the second attacker in this deck. And we're going to see Ty is going to get a pretty hot start once again. He's going to discard his Victini, but, you know, he actually knows that he'll lose his Victory Star ability once Garbodor comes down, if Garbodor comes down. So he's going to flush out his hand. Skyla for the Juniper, and that's a pretty good turn one. You know, getting those three Dynamos out on the field like that. So I'm gonna Ultra Ball away the catcher, and I guess I'm just gonna go for some Dynamo KOs. It's pretty aggressive. I'm kind of surprised I went that aggressive. It makes sense though. I mean, I do want to get out the Trubbish. That's really important. I can't stress it. I do hit 2 though. That's kind of a bit lucky for me. You know, kind of running hot there, I guess. But I'm going to Hammerhead, KO a Tynamo, and put 30 damage on another one. So that's a lot of pressure put on his side of the board turn 1. And that's part of what makes Landorus so good. He's going to play aggressively here, as you can see. He's going to go for the double electric, and I think he's doing that because he promotes the Dynamo because he wants to be able to have those 2 Dynamotors onto that Rayquaza EX if he wants them and he needs the switch. And I'm going to hit a fairly decent hand. He actually hits the Fire Energy, so all he pretty much needs is the switch. And doesn't look like he hit it. He's going to get a Dynamotor off, but he's going to have to pass. And so I'm sitting here with kind of an interesting hand. I put an Eviolite on the Trubbish, and I hit the Garbodor and the switch. So another kind of lucky top deck for me, you know, on that Bianca for 3. That's hitting 2 of the 2 cards I need and basically 3 cards. So I'm just going to be able to Hammerhead, and now I'm in a spot where, you know, I basically, every time I Hammerhead, I take at least 1 KO on the electric. If I can actually keep an electric active, then I would take 2 KOs. But, you know, so I'm feeling pretty good. I've put down the lock for when I need that. I have both attackers out. You know, one of the problems this deck runs into is being able to fill out your bench. He's going to catcher up the Garbodor, and he's got the switch, so that's big. And, you know, this is a deck that really lives on the switch, Garbodor, just because Garbodor has such a heavy retreat cost. You know, 4 switches, you know, an easy inclusion. Sometimes I joke around and say I wish I ran the 5th switch. Obviously, you can't do that. So he's going to computer search here, and I'm pretty sure Ty isn't running Tool Scrapper just based on what he does there, simply because there's no reason not to go for it if you don't have... Or, I guess he's going to KO the... Never mind, he's going to KO this Garbodor, so... That's probably why he does that. So I really kind of luck out there. It almost would have been worse if he would have started Raikouing me, but I guess because he doesn't really have access to Eels, it's not really feasible. But what I'm going to do is just play that Super Rod. You know, it was kind of perfect timing in that sense, and really a lot of things have gone right in these 2 games so far. But I'm going to be able to Super Rod back in the 1-1 line and the Fighting Energy, which is, you know, always another nice thing to get back in there. And I bench the... Garbodor, or the Landorus, sorry, and I go for the Juniper, knowing that getting that lockup is so important. I hit the Rescue Scarf, and I hit the Ultra Ball, so I know I have the lock once again. And I'm going to Eviolite. I wasn't really sure what to do with all these cards I have in my hand, and I'm actually going to Ultra Ball away the N and the Mewtwo, knowing I already have a Mewtwo down. Mewtwo's not that fantastic against this deck either, so... You know, there's that. Keeping 1 on the field is probably all I need, and I have the other one in deck. And I'm going to Hammerhead, put 30 on the active, and I'm going to KO an Eel. So, you know, I maintain this prize lead. I maintain the lock, which is probably the biggest thing. And I also hit a catcher, so potentially I have, if he doesn't evolve that Tynamo into an electric, I have 2 prizes next turn, and, at that point, he's discarded a lot of energy, in order to abuse his Dynamotors, and I'd probably just win at that point. But he's going to catch up the Garbodor. Thankfully, though, I do still have the Skyla, and he's going to Celestial Roar. So I'm going to Skyla. I'm going to grab out the switch on the Skyla. And, that's really one of the things that makes this deck work so well is being able to Skyla for tools or switches like that really makes Garbodor a lot more feasible in this format. And I'm really unsure where to put this DCE right now. I could put it on the active Landorus and, really get ready to use Land's Judgment later on in the game. Or I could put it on Mewtwo just to have another solid damage output. And I'm going to just put the Hammerhead, KO the electric. I don't really feel the need to play that much more aggressively. And Ty's just going to go ahead and retreat, and looks like he's going to go for the Thunder Wave. So times are clearly tough. But Ty says that he's doing it because he's got some guts, I think that says. But, it's kind of really the only thing he has is that he can do is he's going to have to try and build up, try and take my energy off the field, and then go from there. However, having that Eviolite on that Landorus was a really good play just because it's going to make his, life that much harder. So he hits the Thunder Wave, and I'm kind of thinking about it. I think I've played already a few Switch at this point. And I just choose to pass, I believe. So I'm no longer paralyzed, which is good. And he's going to Thunder Wave, and he's going to whiff. And he's just going to scoop right there. So that'll be the 2 games. Feel a little bad posting these simply because, it's kind of those games where I clearly have the favorable matchup, and, there's nothing Ty can do. Ty's a really good player, and it's just kind of how a lot of the matches with this deck works, is that really the other deck tends to fall apart. I think this deck is a really good deck. It does really well against ability-based decks. It needs a little more testing against things like Darkrai, and especially Hammers, but I hope you guys enjoyed that. Make sure you rate, like, comment, subscribe. I have some more good matches, probably better matches than these kind of auto-winning matches. I just wanted to be able to show this deck, and I will catch you guys later.